All right, we are here with Angelica Jimenez, who practices immigration law, and I am thrilled to have you and talk about immigration law and everything that you do in your practice.
Yeah, so I practice primarily immigration law. So that includes things like deportation defense, naturalization, family petitions, investor visas, business visas, kind of everything under the sun when it deals with immigration.
And, you know, it's so funny because whenever I think of immigration, I think of that show 90 Day Fiancé. There's a lot going on there. And I'm really interested because I want to learn more about all those different topics that you just mentioned. Before we get into that, tell everyone a little bit about your law firm and when did you get started?
So I got started in 2014 on my own, doing immigration cases. I was approached by clients that I had helped in different firms, even doing different types of law. And they had approached me saying, hey, I want to become a citizen. Can you help me? And I said, you know what? Yes, I'm going to figure this out. And ever since then, that's what I've been doing. And it's been so rewarding.
So it sounds like you're passionate about immigration law. I mean, is that something that when did you decide that you became interested in kind of helping, you know, people who wanted to change their immigration status or become a citizen of the United States?
So it's not so much that, you know, the law in and of itself is interesting. It's interesting that it changes all the time, but what I find rewarding and why I was really called to it is because you have the unique opportunity to unite families. You know, it's not a divorce proceeding where you're seeing people at their worst. No, you're seeing love blossom like 90 Day Fiancé. You know, when you do these fiancé visas, you see beautiful things. You know, you're putting people together. They have miles and miles of distance between them, and you're finally reuniting them, and so that they can begin their lives together.
That's, you know, it's so interesting that you brought that up because I haven't thought too much about immigration law. And then you think about family law, domestic disputes, divorces, and again, that's separating people. But this idea of immigration is helping someone and families come together. I love that. I mean, that's so tell everyone, where is your law firm located, and you know, where do you practice out of?
So we're located in South Florida. We have two offices. We have a small office in Hialeah Gardens, and our bigger office is in Pembroke Pines, Florida, on University and Taft.
So my understanding with immigration law, and tell me, like, where is your jurisdiction? Where are you able to represent people in the United States?
That is a fabulous question. So with immigration law, it's federal law. So technically, we can represent, and we do represent, people all over the nation. Now, there's little things that make it complicated. For example, if somebody has, let's say, a criminal case, right, in Michigan, we're limited in what we can do in connection with that criminal case, but everything else, because immigration is federal law, we're able to help that person. So let's say they're petitioning a spouse, as long as it doesn't play into the case, we're usually okay. And a lot of times, if we do have clients that come from other states and they do have something that might affect maybe naturalization, they have, a criminal record, we send them to a local immigration attorney there that's able to evaluate, make sure that that subject is okay, whatever that matter was, and then we're able to proceed and still represent that person. So it's a beautiful thing.
So just for the folks that are watching, this video, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube or wherever it is on a website, do you represent people throughout the United States?
Yes. And even other parts of the world, people who want to come in with business visas, investor visas.
That's really great. So anyone that is watching that has an immigration issue, they're able to reach out to you down here in South Florida and you can help them.
Yes.
And, you mentioned something about criminal cases. And when I was a prosecutor, I remember it was a very sensitive issue that if someone was charged with even like driving with a suspended driver's license or a misdemeanor, that their immigration status was an issue if they had pled guilty or no contest. Are you able to help people who are facing criminal charges, and how do you help them?
So that is a great point. A lot of times what we want to do is we want to work with the criminal defense attorney. So the best thing that you could do if you're a person who has a green card or wants to apply for a green card, has some sort of immigration status, you always want to reach out to your immigration attorney in tandem with your criminal defense attorney. Have them work together so that way we can see what's going on. What are you thinking about pleading guilty to? Can that be changed? Can that be modified? And that way we look at the federal law, we look at the statutes, we make sure, is that going to be a crime of moral turpitude? Is that going to be, something that would be a mandatory bar to, becoming either a green card holder or a citizen? So that is something that's really important. That's why you have to have both of them kind of work together as a team when you're making a decision in the criminal defense case.
That is so important when you think about people that are facing some type of criminal charge, that it could affect their immigration status or whether they can become a citizen. And so that's why it's important for them to reach out to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why you have to have a plan. You can't just go into it thinking, oh, I have a criminal matter, let me just solve that, and then later on I'll go to my attorney for my immigration case. You want to kind of have the foresight to figure it out first before you commit to something.
And it brings up this idea that even if the person has a criminal defense lawyer, that if there is an immigration issue that they're facing, they should also reach out to an immigration lawyer like you.
Absolutely.
So we talked a little bit right when we introduced you about the different areas of immigration law that you practice. So kind of let's break it down. So tell me, what are the cases that you work on the most?
The most that we do are family cases. So, for example, you're a U.S. citizen and you meet someone abroad, or you meet someone here and they want to apply for a green card. You're married, all of that, and they want to become a permanent resident of the United States. That's what we do more than anything in our office.
So someone is in that situation, they reach out to you. Walk us through, just a thumbnail sketch of the process of helping out that client become either a U.S. citizen or, get their immigration status approved here.
So what we do first is we always want to have an investigation of how they entered the United States. Was it a legal entry? Was it an undocumented entry? That's super important because that's going to tell us what path we can take towards getting them, a green card and then eventually naturalized. So let's say the individual came undocumented, right? In that case, we would have to do a waiver. So a waiver, the idea of a waiver is almost asking for forgiveness for having entered in an irregular way, right? Let's say the person had a legal entry. If that person had a legal entry, then it should be a very smooth process, straightforward, applying with immigration. We apply for their adjustment of status here in the United States. We don't have to ask for any sort of waiver or anything like that. So it all depends. So it's very case by case.
So, you brought up something so important that I just have never thought of when it comes to immigration law. But if someone comes, whether they're documented or undocumented, coming into the United States, an immigration lawyer is able to assist, analyze their situation, and help them find the best approach to either staying or whatever the next best thing is for them.
Absolutely, yeah. And you see, everyone has different goals. Sometimes we receive phone calls from different countries, individuals that say, I want to open up a business in the United States. I want to invest. I have this much amount of money. I'm interested in opening up a restaurant, a hair salon, anything. And, you kind of see what their goals are, see what their projections are for the future, and you kind of match them with a program that is going to, basically allow them to reach their goals, whatever it may be, whether it's just a visa for, a temporary stay for that investment, or if they eventually want to become a green card holder.
So it sounds like really one of your jobs, and it sounds like it's so rewarding, is that you're helping people achieve the American dream.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's actually really, really nice. I have, it's like you think of different types of law, like personal injury law, like I get to help people on a daily basis, ordinary, regular people. If they're hurt, I help them, go up against the big corporations or insurance companies to level the playing field and get them a fair result. And it sounds like, that immigration law has that same, you help ordinary, everyday people go up against, either the government or someone who, and help them navigate through the system.
And that's an interesting point that you bring up, because when you say go up against the government, a lot of times there's a misconception with people who come to the United States. They think that their immigration process is something they could do on their own, that it's just filling out paperwork, that it's all just, bureaucracy. And actually, you are going up against the government. Why? When you apply for your green card, for example, all the questions that you receive in those forms, they're all eligibility questions. And they're all questions designed to see whether you can, become a green card holder or not. So they're designed for the immigration officer to catch a reason why you'd be denied.
Oh, man.
So it's interesting you say that, because that's exactly right. A lot of times it's not a process where the federal government is saying, oh, let us help you out. Oh, we know what you meant. No, you have to understand why you're being asked these questions.
That's, it's fascinating, because there is this tandem. It's the idea of, like, if someone's hurt in an accident, them trying to go up against the insurance company, this insurance company that's looking to deny. They're looking for reasons not to help you because they want to save money. So, like, what is one thing you would say to someone who is dealing with an immigration case and they say, well, I want to do it on my own, I can handle this, and they don't have any legal training or background?
So I always say, have your case evaluated by an attorney, have them look over the case. It's so important. A simple question that you think the answer might be no, maybe yes, and that could be prejudicial to your case. So it's so important. I mean, we've seen tons of situations where a simple question, a lot of times it's someone who doesn't want to disclose information, or they don't think it's necessary, or maybe they had a marriage that was annulled, so they ask, how many times have you been married? Oh, well, that one was annulled, so it didn't really count. So they omit that information. And then when they go down the line for their citizenship interview, lo and behold, the immigration officer is asking them about that one marriage that was annulled.
And that can end up being adverse to their position, and it can affect their immigration status.
Absolutely.
Wow, that is very, very interesting. So we've talked about, helping families come together. Give me a couple other ideas of different cases that you help, different people with their immigration cases.
Well, there's so many different cases that we do. One of the most fun ones are the 90-day fiancé visas.
Okay.
Those are great. You always want to make sure that you talk to both of them, that they both understand that they do have 90 days to get married. And it's funny, because of the television show on TLC, a lot of people, they think that they're experts now at, the whole 90-day visa. And we've been seeing a lot of delays with immigration now and with the consular processing, but now those cases are starting to move along. But something that they have to keep in mind is they must be married within those 90 days. And the person who comes, they can't go and marry somebody else. So they can't say, oh, well, now I'm here, I'm entered. You know what? I don't really like you, Billy. I like Joe.
So wait, this is blowing my mind, because I only know a little bit about 90-day fiancé. Mm-hmm. So there's a real 90-day fiancé rule in America when it deals with immigration.
Yeah.
Just explain what that is.
So just imagine you fall in love with someone from a foreign country, right? And that person wants to come to the United States, but you're not so sure that you want to, jump in and get married right away. You want to have an opportunity to live together. So what you do is you file for that 90-day, the K-1 visa is what it's called. You file for that visa. The person then comes to the United States. They have a 90-day period. So imagine your dating is just given a deadline. You have 90 days to get married. And, there's a lot of challenges that come with a 90-day visa, a K-1 visa. For example, the person's not authorized to work. So they come here and you just have, your fiance at home.
Oh my God.
And you're cohabitating for the first time in a lot of cases. So yeah, and after that process, so once you do get married, then after that you apply for your green card.
And you handle all those types of cases.
Yes.
All right, so if someone wants to do the 90-day fiancé, you're able to assist them with the paperwork and the processing and filing with the appropriate authorities.
Yes, correct.
That's very cool. So, people who are watching this and they may have an immigration case, maybe they were born in a foreign country, they want to come to the United States. How can they afford a lawyer that's highly qualified like you to help them with their case?
So that's a great question. Not everybody comes from a background where they're an investor, trying to open a business in the US, or that they're being petitioned by an employer. So a lot of people come, a lot of them, want asylum, things like that. So they're making sacrifices. They're crossing the border. They're selling, everything in their home countries in order to come here and start a new life. And so what we do and what we offer for those clients that come in like that is we provide a payment plan. So it's not, typically for many types of law, I know not personal injury per se, but many types of law, you have to go in and you pay per hour for the attorney, and you pay, your retainer up front. And what we do is we have a flat rate fees for different types of cases, and we help people with payment plans just to make it more affordable so that they're able, to get their footing in this country.
And so when it comes to the payment plan, is it, are they able to do it online on your website, or they reach out to your office manager? And how is it that they how is it that they set up the payment plan with your office?
So they reach out to us. What we do is an initial consultation. We talk about the case strategy. And once they decide to come on board, we offer them the payment plan. We say, what's going to work for you? And that's how we get started. It's very simple.
That's great. Listen, and that, unfortunately, there are a lot of lawyers that charge, outrageous hourly rates. And at the end of the month, if the client can't make the payment, they don't, they're not able to do anything, but they don't set up those payment plans, which is really an assistance, I think, for the client who needs the help and they need a quality lawyer.
Right.
Yeah. And same thing, personal injury, slightly different. We do work on contingency fees. So even if the person has no money, they can come to us, we represent them. And if we don't recover money for them, they don't pay us anything.
Right.
And if we do, then they pay a percentage of the recovery. The no fee guarantee thing that you hear on
it's
TV.
Good. It's a great way to level the playing field, like we were talking about, and a great way to help the community.
So just real quickly, give a little bit of a background about, where you went to law school and how it is you got into immigration law.
So I went to law school in Nova in South Florida, graduated. I did different types of law. I did condo association law. I did foreclosure defense. And then I got into immigration. Basically, that's been my trajectory. I did an internship during law school. I thought, maybe I'll do, I'll be a property, a property attorney, real estate, things like that. I had done an internship in Miami with Holland and Knight. And I said, this is not for me. It was, just looking over legal descriptions and, making sure that there's no scrivener's errors. And I said, no. I need to do something that connects me more to the people that I'm helping.
A lot of stuff that we talk about, on my social media is, helping law students find their passion, their area of the law. And it sounds like with your, background, you were able to test a number of different areas of law, and then you found your love.
Yes. And I encourage everyone to do that. If they're in law school or not even in law school yet, even if they're just, finishing college, and you're interested in becoming an attorney, go out there, find a law firm, get your foot in the door, see if you like it or not. There's types of law that really aren't for everyone. And that's how you can find your way. What do you enjoy more? You enjoy more the personal aspect, being able to, give someone a solution, seeing the smile on their face, or do you like being behind the desk and, writing your motions? So what is it that makes you passionate about the law?
And I had that similar experience. Like I had the view of, a lawyer is supposed to be working in downtown Miami at this big fancy international law firm, making tons of money. And I got my foot in the door at one of those places and I realized I hated it. I wasn't working with clients. I wasn't in court. I wasn't taking depositions. I wasn't doing the exciting stuff that I thought lawyers should do. And so I give that same advice is like, listen, get your foot in the door somewhere, find out if you like it. And if you don't, then you got to pivot, find something else and test it out. And then eventually you'll find something that you love.
Yeah, you'll find your sweet spot. So
now let's talk a little bit about your social media. I know you're on Instagram. I know you're crushing it on TikTok. And you're a business owner.
Yep.
So we also talk a lot about that stuff on, in my social media is helping business owners. So what would you tell, I guess, a lawyer who's at a law firm, they're unhappy, maybe they feel overworked, undervalued, and they're thinking about opening up their own business. I mean, what advice do you have for them?
I would say go for it. There's really nothing to lose. It's hard in the beginning, but once you create a system, you take so much pride in your system. You organize kind of every aspect. And as your law firm grows, you tweak it to run like a well-oiled machine. And it's so exciting. It adds a different dimension to being an attorney, to just doing legal work, to be a business owner, to be creative. You get to sit down and think, what are we going to do today? What can we offer everyone? How can we make this interesting? How could we expose everyone and to know us, to know who we are, what we do, why we do it? And I think it's a wonderful opportunity instead of sitting, behind a desk, getting the important work done. But, maybe that's not what you want to do, or maybe you want to be a little bit more hands-on. And I think it's an excellent thing to do. So try it. If you have that yearning, do it.
Get out and do it, right? You got to take action. You got to take the next step. And if you sit back and just wait and, maybe I'll do it next year, maybe all of a sudden years will go by and you could have had all that time building something for yourself.
And what I always say is, worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, you go out and you get a job again. Yeah. So, we have unique skills as attorneys and, there's always work. So it's worth, taking the risk, doing it. Don't say, what I always say to my staff is, don't say no to yourself. Like, let other people say no, give it a try, let the world maybe say no, but don't be that first barrier, don't be a barrier to yourself.
Yeah, that's a great attitude, right? Anyone can tell you, hey, you can't do this. No, they can be negative, but if you invest in yourself and you have, faith in yourself, you're going to succeed because you're not going to want to sink. You're going to want to swim. Right? That's really awesome. So tell everyone your Instagram handle. What is your Instagram handle?
So we have Abogada Angelica Jimenez and Attorney Angelica Jimenez, same on TikTok.
That's awesome.
So Abogada Angelica Jimenez and Attorney Angelica Jimenez.
And where is if someone wants to go to your website, your phone number, what's your website and what's the phone number if someone wants to call?
Yes, so our website is angelicajimenezlaw.com or abogadaangelicajimenez.com. And if they want to give us a call, they can call 844-EMIGRAR. So that's 1-844-364-4727.
Listen, this has been an outstanding experience. I've learned so much about immigration law, and I think you're just destroying it in your practice. You're growing a business, you're an entrepreneur, and you're helping so many people. It's one of the most rewarding things that we have as lawyers is being able to really make a lasting difference in people's lives.
Right, and that's what we have in common as well, because I know you're helping the community.
Yeah, I love it. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll get this thing posted, okay?
All right, thank you for having me.
You got it.